Hello, this is Nick Carnes here with a Network 216 Cavs Minute presented by our great friends at Homage. I'm rocking the Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland NBA Jam shirt and feeling great about it, coming off of a thrilling, which shouldn't have been that close, 104-100 Cavs victory in Miami. And on top of that, you've got a thrilling, awesome comeback overtime win against the Boston Celtics in Cleveland. Two really big wins that the Cavs needed to have as they're fighting for playoff seeding, as they're fighting for home court, as they're fighting to try and avoid the play-in. And it looks like the Cavs are well on their way there. And I think it's important, since we did the last one, there's been a lot of talk about how the Cavs can't close games, how the Cavs have really struggled down the stretch. And just there's been questions of JB Bickerstaff. And I think a lot of that has to do with being a young team. When you're one of the youngest teams in the NBA, when only a couple of the players on your roster have playoff experience and really those tense game experiences, I think it's normal for a team to have those types of struggles. But I think the game against Boston and now the game against Miami are two really good examples of this Cavs team starting to grow up a little bit. Against Boston, it felt like the entire game the Cavs were down 12 plus. I remember when Cleveland took the lead, I think it was 104-103. It was their first lead since 9-8 in that ball game. And the Cavs against Miami, it felt like, yeah, the game was tight most of the time, but the Cavs were leading. And then all of a sudden late, the game gets tight. You have that Ricky Rubio inbounds pass where he says he calls timeout, but they get the 5-second violation, and Miami gets the ball. They hit a three right away with Isaac Okoro. Tyler Hero hits it with Isaac Okoro right in his face, and you're looking at it, and you're like, oh, here we go again, right? A game that we really should have had in the bag with 20 seconds left, and all of a sudden it's coming down to these late free throws, which, Jared Allen misses one, Evan Mobley misses one. It's really exciting, but you still find a way to win. And so aside from, because in both of these games against the Celtics and the Heat, the Cavs have had some really rough inbound passing. That is something that has to improve. I mean, one of the something you have to be good at. It's just you can't struggle in that area, especially if you want to be a team that has really deep playoff aspirations. You'd like to hope. So I think though that on the bright side, in both of these wins, Cleveland is starting to answer some questions. There's been a lot of missing production from the bench. We saw Lamar Stevens step up huge in that Celtics games. He was probably the X factor that really push the Cavs to make that comeback. And then we've seen Karis LeVert and Lamar Stevens as well, who's now getting additional playing time due to what he did in the Celtics game, both start to pick up their play a little bit. You're still not there with the Cavs bench. I don't think this season you're going to get there. It's kind of, it is what it is at this point. You're more looking towards the playoffs than you are anything else because the season's quickly winding down. I don't even know where it went. But where the Cavs are now, I think, is a tribute to them because you can see the improvement. I mean, Evan Mobley's still taking threes. We talked about that a little last time. We're seeing Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell look more comfortable with look more comfortable with each other, play off of each other well. And I think overall the Cavs, there's something that's been a constant throughout this year is just effort. And even without Jason Tatum, particularly against the Celtics, could the Cavs have just thrown in the towel and let Boston win in Cleveland, a game that they weren't supposed to win, a scheduled loss for Boston? Absolutely, they could have. But they've shown it all year. The one thing the Cavs are going to give you every game in, game out, is effort. And I think that's why they're just so damn fun to watch because they battle. And suddenly, yes, they needed breaks to go their way because they didn't play as well as they could have, but they got them. And they got them and they got there. They put themselves in position because of their effort. And, against Miami, no, shots weren't always dropping for them and things weren't going particularly well early on and especially late. But you just see the constant effort from them, the constant intensity. And that is something that I think has helped the Cavs despite their struggling bench, despite some of the miscues that they've had, really continue to position themselves to have home court in the playoffs. So we've got yet another game here on Friday against Miami in Miami again. That now the Cavs have typically really struggled in Miami. They get the Miami flu, so to speak. I think a lot of teams have struggles with that. But you win the first game in Miami, and it would not surprise me at all to see Cleveland win again. So as we're looking here, yes, the Knicks are surging, and you've got a bunch of teams in the East that are fighting for position right now. But the beautiful thing about the Cavs to this point is that they've positioned themselves so that they control their own destiny when it comes to getting home court in the first round. And I think for this team, especially having the youth that they do, outside of really Donovan Mitchell, Ricky Rubio, uh, that's where you want to be. I don't want to put a ceiling on the Cavs this year, but if they could win a first playoff series, and we know how much better they are at home, I think that would go a heck of a long way to getting this team where they want to go and setting them up to get the experience in the future. And who knows, if you get home court in the first round and then you win that series, you never know where things could take you. I think this Cavs team is tremendously talented. They have a lot of potential. Obviously, they have their weaknesses too. But when Donovan Mitchell gets hot, and we saw, he goes for 40 against the Celtics, and he doesn't start off that well against Miami, but really rallies late. Passes J.R. Smith's 3-point made in a season record. I mean, there's a lot to like there. I think the Cavs are getting together at the right time. And Evan Mobley against Boston, the points were truly. I want to say he had over 25 against Boston, and he didn't have as many against Miami, but just you could feel his impact. The block late, it was such a clutch that that's the other thing that really separates the Cavs too, is their defense is always there. Even when the threes aren't falling, even when the offense isn't going the way it is, the defense is always there. And that really starts with Evan Mobley. So just for him to be playing at that level already is incredible, because you can see that he's getting more confident offensively. And the more he grows in that area, the more dominant he becomes. And you've already got Darius and Donovan who truly are creators, and just can, either one of them could get hot and go off for 40 any night. So Evan Mobley adding to that mix, you still see Isaac Okoro looking more confident from three, shooting threes. I think, and really, I think a big question is if Lamar Stevens or Karis LeVert could become consistent enough to give the Cavs that type of punch that they need off the bench. Ricky Rubio, I think you can rely a little more on, and he's had some of his own struggles too. But it's really about, the rotation's already getting tighter. It's more of an 8-man rotation. So if either one of them can become more consistent, and they've been playing well lately, playing better lately. So I think that's encouraging about where the Cavs are, especially when you've rattled off 2 wins, 2 games that absolutely felt like playoff environment, playoff intensity. This is great experience for the Cavs to get, and to come out ahead in both of them is a tremendous step forward. This has been a Network 216 Cavs Minute. I can't wait to come back to you with more of these videos, hoping for more victories by the next time we see each other again. I'm Nick Carnes. Go Cavs.